or 5 factors models traits of personality are 5 broad domains which define human personality and account for individual differences. The 5 broad personality traits described by the theory, which is ocean. O for openness. C for conscientiousness. E for extraversion. A for agreeableness. N for neuroticism. Openness can be described as willing to try to gain new experience in their life. People high in openness prefer variety and have a broad range of interests. Conscientious is people who are more aware of their actions and the consequence of their behavior than people who are unconscientious. High conscientiousness people are achievement-oriented, well-organized, and tend to be mindful of details. Extraversion is characterized by outgoing, socially confident behavior. Extroverts can be known as sociable, talkative, and often forward in social situations. Agreeableness includes attributes such as trust, altruism, kindness, affection, and other pro-social behavior. People in this personality dimension tend to be more compassionate. Neuroticism is a trait characterized by sadness, moodiness, and emotional instability. People who are high in these traits are prone to mood swings and experience high levels of stress. Lastly, personality is complex and varied, and each person may display behavior across several of these dimensions.
Hello, today I will introduce you Cattell's 6PF theory. What is Cattell theory? Cattell theory, known as 16PF traits theory. 16PF is a self-personality developed for several decades of empirical sleep by Raymond B. Cattell, Maurice Tosoka, and Herbert Aber. What is Cattell theory for? First, people in advance were struggling to understand a person's personality. Second, 6PF provided common personality measurement that can also be used by psychologists and other mental health professionals as a clinical agreement to its directly diagnose psychiatric disorder, as well as help with prognosis and therapy planning that will facilitate psychologists. History of Cattell theory. Before Cattell came out with his idea, some of the earliest property theories are used to interpret each single trait that may exist. Before this, a psychology member of Gordon Allport has identified more than 4,000 words in English that can be used to depict a variety of personality properties. Then Raymond Cattell analyzed this list and over-explained it to 171 features. This is done to eliminate the excessive or unusual terminology. Cattell theoretical form. According to Cattell, there is a continuous personality trait. In other words, each person contains all the 16 features in a certain level, but they may be high and low. How to do the measurement? It's really easy. The pencil and paper version of the test takes around 35 to 50 minutes to complete, while the computer version of the questionnaire takes around 30 minutes. That's all from me. Thank you.
So, previously, my friend had explained about what is Big Five theory and Cattell's 16PF theory. So, now, what are the similarities between the Big Five theory and Cattell's 16PF theory? There are few similarities between the Big Five theories and the 16 personality factor questionnaire theories. Both of them are used to measure, understanding, and describe one person's behavior and personality traits. The word Big Five was obtained using lexical system or language. Research was first conducted in this field in the 1930s. They went into the English lexicon and identified 17,953 words and phrases capable of separating one person's actions from that of another. They identified 4,504 terms and phrases defining positive personality characteristics. These are the terms which form the basis of the Big Five model. These terms were then further evaluated and reduced to 5 general measurements, which define the temperament of a person and forecast individuals' actions based on these characteristics. As for the 16PF, the analysis of the data by Cattell shows that 16PF were classified into two groups, 12 live data, L data, respectively, which were character attributes called as factors and given later characteristics as A and others. Cattell further analyzed the variables identified by means of a modern questionnaire named questionnaire data, Q data. This culminated in the 16 key factors occur today, consisting of 12 L data and Q data being combined. The 16 primary factors were then evaluated to determine the global factors that more broadly and marginally widely characterize the temperament than any of the primary factors. Those 5 global factors represents the aspect of the Big Five, so it is clearly shown that the Big Five personality traits and 16PF are related to each other. Their function is to investigate one's personality. Both Big Five personality traits and 16PF help us to understand each other better and know the reason why someone behaves the way they do.
Big Five and Cattell 16PF differences. As we can see, the major differences also we can see through the name of the theory have been used. For the Big Five theory, also known as the five factor theory, while the Cattell 16PF theory is the name that been used in this theory. That is the first differences that we can categorize. Next, for the second differences was the test that been conduct or the model or the inventory that been used. For the five factor theory, the test was conducted by the 10-item personality inventory that also known as TP that have 10 questions in the inventory and only need
5 to 10 minutes to answer it, while the Cattell'S 16PF was using the 16 personality factor personality test for conduct the theoretical for knowing the individual personality. And in this theory, they have 160 to 185 questions, and the time to answer this test was 25 to 35 minutes. And that's all for the differences of the 5-factor, or known as Big Five theory, and Cattell's 16 personality factor.
Now I want to present about the literature review. The first one is for the Big Five personality trend. The article title is Big Five personality trend and their impact on job performance of manager in FMCG sector. The primary objective of the research is to determine impact of 5 trends of personality in managers' performance at the workplace, particularly in FMCG sector. A questionnaire is made convincing 3 steps, where questions in first stage are based on respondents' personal details. Questions in stage second are framed from items of Big Five personality trend, which helps the managers to perform their job within a stipulated time period. Part 3 is for job performance. 400 managers of FMCG sector are considered to correct the respondents. Out of 400 managers, questionnaire was properly filled by 350 managers. Correlation of data was done through interview, questionnaire, and line. Analysis of manager was done through descriptive statistics like measurement of percentage, mean, and standard deviation, correlation, regression technique, and reliability analysis. The result of the research shows that the manager's personality trend affect their job performance in the organization. And the next literature review is for the 60 personality factor questionnaire. From an article, the research proposed a novel 3-layer neural network-based architecture for studying the relationship between emotion, facial muscle activity analysis using FSCS and the 60PF trend. The article title is Predicting the 60 Personality Factor of an in the individual by analysis facial filter. The purpose a novel 3-layer neural network based architecture from predicting the 60 personality traits from facial feature analysis using facial action coding system. The study showed that the proposed architecture predict with an accuracy of over 18%. The system converged to a stable result in no more than 1 minute, making it faster and more practical than the 60 personality factor questionnaire and suitable for real-time monitoring of people's personality traits. They can also consider other ways of stimulating emotional knowing the fact that watching emotion video is not always sufficient to prompt expression that will provide all the event emotional to evaluate all aspects of personality, and this is another direction which will be pursued in our future research.
In conclusion, we can conclude that both Big Five theory and 16PF theory have their own function. Although they have similarities in common, they still have some differences between each other. The theory of Big Five personality offers a clear framework for recognizing others, strengthening interactions by learning why individuals choose to act the way they do. The 16PF theory may be used to identify and understand human personality variations. It is also important because it can be used to set long-term goals for one's or organization.